By the end of this lesson, you should be able to solve a quadratic inequality and graph the solution. Quadratic inequalities in one variable. At the heart of solving any inequality is finding all values in the variable that make the inequality true. The basic notion of inequalities is critical to understanding before proceeding. So determine if each of the following is a solution to the inequality given. Show work to justify your response. So they're telling you what x is, they just want you to tell if it's true or false. So plug 4 in for x and tell if it's true or false. So use your calculator to calculate that. You do not have to show the orders of operations. So you'll see on the calculator I stored 4. We got -6. Is -6 greater than 0? No. False. So unlike equations, inequalities you can put in your calculator because it will tell you true or false, and it will never give you the yellow triangle or give you the wrong answer. So if you want to use the inequality, go for it. If you don't and you want to use your head and use your brain, then go ahead and do that. So go ahead and do B and C. And continue the video when you're ready. So you should see by my storing that part B is true and part C is false. Make sure that you have the substitutions correct on your calculator or on your paper, especially for letter C, because of those negatives. You need to make sure they are in parentheses. So most of the time there's an infinite number of solutions to an inequality. The solution set of inequalities like these cannot be written in roster form, so where one lists the solutions because there's an infinite amount. So in exercise 2, we will explore how to determine the solution set by using tables on your calculator. So consider the quadratic inequality of x squared plus 2x minus 3 is less than 0. Solve the corresponding equation algebraically for the values of x. So first step always when you're solving an equation is to solving an inequality, solve the equation. Ignore the inequality. So this is a trinomial. So what multiplies to 3 and adds to 2? So x plus 3 and x minus 1. So solve each of these. So x equals -3 and x equals +1. So algebraically, my answers are -3 and +1. Those are the zeros, those are the roots, those are the x-intercepts. So now it's asking us to use our calculator and get the table below. So go ahead and grab your calculator and let's get a graph and type in your x squared plus 2x minus 3. Let's get our table. What we can see right there, look at what my intercepts are. -3 and +1, which is what I got algebraically. Get your table. And they want from -5 to +3. So -5 is 12, -4 is 5, -3 is 0, -2 is -3, -4 is -1, 0 is -3, 1 is 0, 2 is 5, and 3 is 12. So, going back to my paper, ding, 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 this is a quadratic, so they should mirror each other. Not all quadratics do, but the majority do. So that means this is my vertex or my turning point. So explain why the zeros you found in part A are not part of the solution set of the inequality. So if I look at -3, my answer when I plug it in, y is 0. So if I look at this, if x squared plus 2x minus 3 is less than 0, if x equals -3, I get that it is equal to 0. 0 is less than 0, which is false. So it is not part of the solution. Well, if I do the same thing, if I make x equal 1, I also get 0. And 0 is not less than 0, so they are false, because they are not less than 0. So write the solution set of the equation and represent it on the number line. So if we know these are not, let's look at the other way. Is 5 less than 0? No. Is 12 less than 0? No. Is negative 3 less than 0? Yes. Is negative 1 less than 0? Yes. Is negative 3 less than 0? Yes. So, on a number line, we are going to have the answers of negative 3 and 1. Why are they on the number line if they're not the solutions? Because again, remember, between negative 3 and negative 2, there's an infinite amount of numbers. So, because it's not equal to, I put an open circle. Now, we said that above this and below this are not part of it. This is true in here. This is false. So I am going to shade on my number line in between negative 3 and 1. Now I need to write the solution. So your choices are negative 3 and 1 with parentheses, or to write inequalities, negative 3 less than x less than 1. Either of these are the solution. Okay. So let's recap. When you have an inequality, you're going to solve the equation. You can use it algebraically or the table. Then you have to figure out which ones are true and which ones are false, graph it, and write the solution. The key to algebraically solving a quadratic inequality is to first find the zeros and then test points between the zeros and outside the zeros. Don't forget to write the solution. A lot of people write the graph, but they forget to write the solution. So don't forget, solve the equation, get your values, test, 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 write your solution. All right, let's do some examples. Example 3. So it asks us to write your final answer in set builder notation and represent the solution on a number line. So remember, set builder notation has the inequalities. So we're going to first solve the equation. So what multiplies to 36 and adds to negative 5? So positive 9 and 4. So, sorry, negative 9, positive 4. So your solutions are 9 and negative 4. So we're going to put negative 4 here and a positive 9 here. Now, because it's equal to, negative 4 and 9 work. They're solutions. So now we need to test. So we're going to test negative 5 because it's less than negative 4. We'll test 0 and we'll test 10. So grab your calculator. Let's get a calculator page. Store negative 5 for x. Plug in your inequality, so x squared minus 5x minus 36 is less than or equal to 0, and that is false. Now store 0 for x, cut and paste, that is true, and then store 10, and then cut and paste. So we have false, true, false. So we're going to shade between, and we're going to write our solution of negative 4, comma 9, brackets, except it says set builder, so we're going to say set builder x such that negative 4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 9. And there's our solution. So let's try letter B. It's going to be a little bit harder because A does not equal 1, so we have to use our box method. So AC is negative 60 and B is 28. So 1 and 60, 2 and 30, 3 and 20, 4 and 15, 5 and 12, 6 and 10, and that's it. Which ones? Our signs are different, so we're subtracting. Subtract to give you 28. So we have a positive 30 and a negative 2. So we have 5x squared, negative 2x, positive 30x, negative 12, factor, 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 and factor. So we have 5x minus 2 and x plus 6 as our factors for our equation. Remember, you solved the equation. So now our solutions are positive 2/5 and negative 6. So on our number line, we have negative 6 and 2/5. Those are the only numbers you need on the number line. Because it's greater than, not equal to, we have open circles. So we have to test a number. So let's test negative 7, 0, and 1. So grab your calculator and store negative 7. Put in the equation, 5x squared plus 28x minus 12, and I'm actually not going to put the equation in, I'm going to put the inequality. So your inequalities, if you didn't know, is control and then the equal sign, so greater than 0, that is true. Now I'm going to store 0, and I'm going to cut and paste, and that is false, and then I'm going to store 1, and I'm going to cut and paste, and that is true. So this is true, false, true, so I'm shading here, and I'm shading here. So set builder notation, x such that x is less than negative 6, or x is greater than 2/5. So again, when they separate, you have to have the word or. When they're together, that's an and, but we don't have to write it. We write it as a triple. Why don't you pause the video and try to do C and D, and then play the video to check your work. So here are your number lines and your solutions. Make sure, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they lose the roots or their solutions and they accidentally put in test numbers down here. Okay, so make sure that you have your number line and make sure you have your solution written. If it doesn't tell you how to write it, you can write it in set builder notation or using brackets and parentheses. It does not matter. Good luck with this. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.